Hey everyone, we're live, Arsenal Fan Circle here, and let's bring in the fifth Beatle. Rohan has just joined us on time. We are live, Rohan.
Guys.
Introductions: Rohan, the Bearded Gooner, Tony, Turner, and Stan the Man. Thanks everyone for joining. Pleasure. We finally got a win today. Stan the Man. Thanks everyone for joining. And he's got me on. We finally got a win today. Stan the Man.
Yeah, I don't know
goes in the house too. Go ahead, Stan.
So I've got a bit of a lag here, but yeah, we got a win today. You know, we actually got a win today, and the most important thing for me about getting the win today is that we've got an important game coming up on Saturday. I think it's an important one. You know, it's a chance of some silverware, and we really needed to be going into that game on a little bit of a high, a little bit of confidence. And, you know, our young guns getting a couple of goals. You can't get any more confident than that, taking their chances. The first Premier League goal for Joe Willock. And a couple of really good performances, which I'm sure that we're going to go into later. I don't know if you're going to go through the match from first half to end or whatever, but yeah, we've got a win.
Yeah, definitely. Rohan, a win today for the Arsenal. And Stan, like Stan said, most of our eyes would have been on Sunday and the FA Cup game. So definitely important for us to get a game under our belt where we win a game, increase confidence, and likewise for Sheffield United, they are on a slightly downward turn. Rohan.
Yeah, I first want to start off with the fact that I think it's an indicator of how far our club has fallen that it wasn't on American TV today. Our game wasn't on TV today. You couldn't see it on NBC, etc. So I had to stream it to watch it. I was doing a watch along as well, and I had to stream it, and I think it's testament to the fact that we've fallen so low that they'd rather show Watford versus Burnley than show Arsenal and Southampton play.
Or Rohan, they just know that Arsenal are mugs and will pay for the subscription for NBC Gold as well.
Yeah, exactly. Either this or that. So,
that mug there in the bottom right-hand corner.
I'm waiting for Peacock.
So that given all of this, oh wow. So given that, that was a bummer to start. The fact that there was no game on TV, and then I had to find some stream, and I watched it in like 1 minute lag. But yeah, the game was great. I mean, away win, clean sheet, youngster scoring, the substitute scoring. What else could we ask for? Great performance.
Yeah, and we're going to touch on all of these topics as well. They're going to be veins running through this podcast here. So, the Bearded Gooner, Tanner, your thoughts on today's game?
3 points, boys. That's what matters. We're at this point. We're at the point in the season now where style points never count. But yeah, 3 points is 3 points, and I'm gonna piggyback off what Stan said. This was a very important game as it relates to Sunday for us. I think we needed to get the confidence going. I think we needed to feel what it's like to win again. We need to see the ball in the back of the net. We need to see the netting ripple a few times. And probably more than wanting to hang on at the end, which I really kind of felt we were doing until Willock's goal. I was really like, press, come on. We need another one. We need another one, and not necessarily for insurance. I wanted to see the ball go in the net a few times because I want them to see the ball go in the net a few times. And I think that helps with confidence. So like Stan said, big time boost for the confidence, and hopefully it translates to Sunday, because right now I think that's the basket we need to put our eggs in if we want European football.
Yeah. Shout out to Steve Dedham, always here. Glenn, thanks for joining us, and Terry from I'm a Gooner as well. So thanks for joining tonight. This morning, whatever it is. Tony, I'm giving Hope some time to eat his ice cream. Tony. Hopes is celebrating with an ice cream. Tony, your views on the game today.
It's nice to get with 3 points, but for me, as a tale of 2 halves, we started off the game pretty bright and died down and didn't show much energy in the second half. And the game as a whole, I don't think we showed enough effort and fight for losing 2 in a row. I wish we came out with more energy and fight.
Yeah, and Hopes, I'm going to bring you in then in a minute. To get a win away from home, we haven't had many of those. They're like hen's teeth. They're not very common at all. 3 wins away from home. That's what my mom used to call it. Something very, very rare, like hen's teeth. There's no such thing, right? But Arsenal winning 3 times away from home this season. And I don't care. We'll take these scruffy wins right now, Hopes.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be on with you guys. Just want to start off by congratulating Liverpool. Absolutely smashed it. I'm glad the season's over.
He missed it in the private comments. Come on, Hopes.
Listen, I'm in the Hopes camp there. You've got to call out Liverpool for the fantastic season they've had. They've won. They're champions of Europe, and now they've won the league, right, Hopes? You got to take your hat off to them. That's what we aspire to be.
Rohan, I'm not gonna lie, I was probably going to mention it at the end of the show anyway.
Yeah, it was at the end, though.
At the end.
The only thing is, theirs is not gold, and ours is.
Yeah, but after 30 years, they're not going to care about that, Hopes. They won the Premier League. That's what they wanted to win.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just saying, but yeah, overall, going back to the Southampton Arsenal game, it was strange, I mean, I fell asleep after 32 minutes. I'll be honest with you. I thought it was boring, but I'll take the 3 points. What was even more stranger that we had less possession, we had less shots on target. No, less shots overall, but we had more shots on target, and we came away with the win. I think we were lucky in the sense in the first 20 minutes, they had 2 half chances, but they didn't convert them. If there was a better strike at the end of that, he would have done it. So not gonna, sit here and complain. I don't, it's nothing to write home about. It's Southampton. I mean, am I really that elated that Arsenal Football Club are getting so happy about beating Southampton 2-0? I was a bit surprised at the lineup, seeing players out and some other players come back in. I was worried when Tierney went off, but overall, yeah, I'm just happy with the 3 points.
All right, so the major news, Stan, from the lineup announced was Guendouzi dropped out of the team. And on the substitute bench was a youth player. So, say what you like about Arteta, but he has sent out a message, a clear message to keep your discipline on the field.
Yeah, and rightly so. I think Matteo Guendouzi was really lucky to not get punished by the FA. But I'm really glad that even though he went unpunished by the FA, Mikel Arteta has turned around and says, well, I don't find that kind of behaviour acceptable. Because the last thing you want to do is and we're particularly short in the midfield. Maybe another manager would still play him or have him on the bench because we are short. But he's a young player, and this is the right age for him to be learning what you can and what you can't do. And he's learned now that if you do stuff like that, and even if the FA don't see you, Mikel Arteta is not going to have it. And it's a good message to some of the other youngsters coming through. So, he's got to take his medicine.
Can I come in here? Mm-hmm. I think I totally couldn't disagree more with that, because at the end of the day, it's a contact sport. I'm from the early 80s.
It's a contact sport within the game. You don't do that at the end of the game.
I'm from the early 80s, where you've got like Vinnie Jones like kicking people's heads in, and Tony Adams. There's no way. I mean, come on. What message are you giving to your player? Like, if you're going to go and defend your goalkeeper who just got owned on the pitch and now he's out for 6 weeks, and I'm going to put you on the bench, what are we, bunch of pansies?
Yeah,
let me come in on that.
I mean, there was no red card and there was nothing from the FA. So what's Arsenal's problem? Or what's
Hope.
Mikel's problem?
If it had all kicked off when Leno went down, and there was a scuffle at that moment, and Guendouzi was a part of that, then yeah, I would understand exactly what you're saying, and I would have liked to have seen that, because I thought it was a disgrace that the amount of time, the length of time that he was lying on the ground, to when they brought the stretcher off and took him out, not one Arsenal player went to comfort or back up Leno. Had that happened, I'd be totally 100% with you. But at the end there, the way that he walked past him and tapped him on the stomach, right? That was a schoolboy error, because what did Mopai do? He showed us exactly that. He's the sort of guy that likes to take opportunities. He's an opportunist. He went down like a ton of bricks. Pathetic. However, Guendouzi just walked straight into that little trap by being immature.
Yeah, but then
No,
I'll respond with that, sorry, by saying what happened to Leno, if you look at it, it wasn't straight, clear cut, number one. So they didn't know, but then Guendouzi stuck up for him at the... It wasn't clear cut. It wasn't
Every professional footballer knows
it wasn't.
what Mopé was doing.
No. Hold on. What I mean from that angle on a pitch. I mean, it wasn't clear cut to people watching at home. But if you're on that pitch, depending on where you're at, it wasn't like he totally took him out. But then when you see the replays and so on and so forth, so he came back from that. And at the end of the day, he didn't get a red card. So what's Mikel's problem?
The problem is that he didn't keep his discipline after the final whistle. I think something like that would have been okay within the actual game before the final whistle was sounded, to show that desire and enthusiasm. And every football player knows that a striker is going to do that to the goalkeeper. We want our strikers to do that to the goalkeepers as well.
Well, we want our strikers to go in and I'll say, in a manner of speaking, play to the whistle. Now, obviously, there's no whistle. There was no whistle blown until Leno went down and screamed his head off. But you want your striker to go in, but you don't want him to go in and run the goalkeeper, try to knock the ball loose. Once the ball is in the goalkeeper's hands and he shows firm control, at that point, back off. And Mopé had a chance to pull up, and he didn't. He went through him. And I agree with Hopes from the standpoint that you want to see the fight. You want to see your goalkeeper get defended. But to Stan's point, and Ray, I think to your point, you want to see it within the game. What good did it do to go up to him and try to choke him out after the game? If you're going to try to choke him out, do it in the game. If you want him out of the game, choke him out in the game and get him the hell out of here. Like I said last night on my show, if that's the case, you do it within the 90 minutes. Give him a forearm shiver in the back. And I think it was you last night who said, basically let him know you're there.
Do a clothesline.
Hit him with a couple of forearm shivers. If you knock him off the ball with his shoulder, take the card. That's fine. Give up the free kick, reasonably speaking. Don't do it on the edge of the penalty box. But make him know you're there. Make him look over his shoulder during the game. Because at that point, who knows? Like Stan said last night, maybe he doesn't take that pass cleanly in the 95th minute and bury it like he did. Maybe
Rohan.
he's thinking about, is somebody going to come over and, somebody coming to clip me again? And he's looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. Rohan, let's get your viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Guendouzi's reaction had anything to do with Leno's injury, because that happened like an hour ago, and that time nobody stepped in. And during the game, he was mouthing off and saying that I'll earn more than you and things like that. That's what the reports say. And then once he's lost, after the final whistle, he's gone in and he's done that, which could have easily been a suspension. I mean, in my opinion, if that had happened to Arsenal, I would be up in arms to say that player needs to get a suspension.
How is that dude suspended for 3 games?
Exactly.
And look, go ahead, Rohan.
And it just didn't do any good. That's the end of it, right? The long and short of it is that they didn't show their mentality in the game. I'm all for a physical game. I'm all for tackles flying in and all of that. But that needs to happen in the 90 minutes when it can affect the scoreline, and not afterwards when it's just about, trying to show some sort of passion, but actually it's not helping anyone.
And Rohan, you're exactly right. In every game, there are certain players who will use every advantage that they can, and
Yeah.
if it's durable and being abusive to fellow players on the team, on the opposing team, to get that 5% edge, they're going to do that. It's up to Guendouzi to mature as a player and not to present this kind of weakness in his game, because he's a player who has a lot of things going for him. But what's going to happen next game, Tony? What's going to happen next game? A player knows, like Guendouzi has this.
You cut out there, Ray.
Has this violent streak in him.
Yeah, well, it's not a crazy violent streak, but it is an edge hopes that opponents can hold against you now.
I'll let Tony go.
I think it's a mute point. I think he's going to get sold at the end of the season. Too many other clubs are circling around, and he's going to be pissed off and say, fuck it, and get out of the club.
And let's just go ahead.
Can I make one quick point? Just let's say, for example, let's just say that the FA did come in and give him a ban. Now, do you think he gets that same ban if it's within the context of play? Does he get? And again, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a wonderful Christmas. But if he did get the ban from the FA, he accomplished absolutely nothing during the course of the game, and we just lost a warm body for whatever length of time. So the actions at the end of the game, in my opinion, are more reckless than during the game, because he affected nothing during the game, and we could have potentially lost him for a number of games after. At the end of the day, it's a moot point because it didn't happen. But he has to be smarter than that in the moment, because in the moment, you don't know that you're not going to get suspended for that.
I just like the fact that, he sort of, by doing it, I can take the panel's point. Like, okay, how did it affect the overall scoreline? How did it, stop Mopé from scoring and so on and so forth? But I just think that kind of stuff, players like him retaliating, even if it was after the full-time whistle, players keep that stuff in their mind that, okay, these guys are not just going to be, kicked and shoved around like we were against the Man City game and for most of the Brighton game. And this is Guendouzi as a player. Now, when he missed the penalty yesterday, Mopé, a lot of Arsenal fans were like, oh yeah, karma and blah, 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 and all stuff like that. And they're not even acquainted, they don't exactly see Leno on the pitch every day and so on and so forth. So sometimes there's delayed reaction, post-traumatic stress and all that.
I just think that Guendouzi doing it at that point in the game, when the game is finished, is too little too late. As Tanner says, what does it achieve? The only thing it could have achieved, luckily for us, was that he didn't get however many match ban it was going to be.
Yeah,
but is that lucky anyway? Is that lucky anyway? Because the manager benched him.
If you want to send out a message to the opposition that we're not a soft touch, as soon as Leno went down and hit the deck, that's when everybody should have been galvanising, crowding around Leno to make sure none of their players could get there. Have a little word with Mopé. Do you know what I mean? Give him a little shove. If you want to do your handbags at 20 pace, that's the time to do it.
Yeah, no one's disputing that. But I think the point for contention is such that was he right to do it or not? And in my opinion, yeah, because there's something between them two, and they were biting at each other all game, and it's got that bad at Arsenal Football Club that now an Arsenal player's got a taunt like a lower league sort of, not a lower league, but like a non-equal opposition about how much they're earning. It's like seriously, like why can't we just let our football do the talking? But I just think it's just frustration in a young lad,
I mean, Rohan, that's what we like about Guendouzi, but that's what we dislike about Guendouzi, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. You need character in the team, and I'm all for character during the 90 minutes, and that's the character, that's the sort of fight. And I've said again and again that Guendouzi has leadership attributes. What he doesn't, or at least he hasn't shown me till now, is footballing skill and footballing brain. That is something that he lacks, but he does have leadership and he does have fight. So, that's great. But show me that in the 90 minutes. That is when I want to see it, and not after, when you can't affect the game. And this lower team that we are talking about, the reason why he has to talk about, the money, etc., is because the football is not doing the talking. They've won 3 games. Brighton have won 3 games in the last 20, and 2 of them have been against Arsenal. They've done a league double on Arsenal now.
A league double, yeah, not great at all there at the weekend. But thankfully, we got 3 points today. I just want to go.
Just to add that, we can say that we as Arsenal fans now in a situation where we'll celebrate a 2-0 win against Southampton. I mean, that's exactly what we'll do, because away wins are a rare commodity nowadays, right, for us. And, Southampton has been a bogey ground for us over the last years, even when they haven't been doing well and we've sort of been challenging, which would fade away in like February and March, we would still go there and get beat, and get turned over. So we had a good performance today. In the first half, we had a good, solid performance with a lot of chances. In the second half, they sort of came back, but we managed it well.
Thanks, Rohan. Just wanted to go around and get a view on Guendouzi from everyone on the panel. And you can stay 50-50 because I'm totally going to sit on the fence here. I'm 50-50 on Guendouzi.
Surprise.
No, I got to be sitting on the fence at some points, but
yeah, we know where that fence post is, Ray. We know where that fence post is firmly fixed, my friend.
Wow,
nice.
All guns blazing tonight.
No, it's all good. It's all
on top of a fence, fighting for their spot up there like 2 cats.
Listen, I'm 50-50 on Guendouzi. I think he needs to learn. I think this is something that he can learn from. Under Emery, I think he was, what's the right word, ingratiated too much under Emery, and pretty much one of the favorite players that would get onto the team most times. I think Arteta is going to use him and control him in the right way, and I think the other players in the squad will also learn from this and say, hold on, there's some discipline finally coming into Arsenal Football Club. So, Stan, we're just going to go, are you for Guendouzi, against, or 50-50? I'm sitting on the fence at 50-50, Stan.
You got to put your glasses on first. You look like a don.
Yeah.
Sun's gone in. I'm on the balcony, but the sun's gone in. Do you know what I mean?
We'll go.
Now I can look into Stan's eyes.
We'll go counterclockwise. We'll go with hopes.
Stan still can't look at Rohan's square, though.
That's the real reason I was wearing them, Rohan. I'm still unable to present myself in front of you after yesterday's
No way.
after what I did yesterday. But that's another story. But with Guendouzi, I did a poll right on Twitter, and I asked the question. I just said Matteo Guendouzi is, and I put the future of Arsenal a headless chicken, and it was really close. And a lot of people actually came in the comments and said I would choose both. So it seems to me that the Arsenal fan base, or those that voted on the poll, are trying to say that he is a headless chicken, but maybe if he's filed down a little bit, like I polish him up a little bit, they say that they feel that not only could it be the future of Arsenal, and I know this is going to annoy Terry in the chat box, but some was saying I think he's a future captain of Arsenal. So make of that what you will.
Tony?
Me, I'm 50. I'm 50-50. I'm surprised that I've seen stories that Madrid are circling. I'm like, really?
Yeah, I don't.
Really? Has he done that much to alert Real Madrid? I'm not so sure about that, but I'm probably still 50-50 on whether he stays or goes.
Yeah, thanks, Stan. 50-50, 250-50s up here. So, Tony, I think if you're going to talk the talk, you have to walk the walk, and Guendouzi hasn't gotten to that point yet. Tony, where are you on Guendouzi?
I'm 100% on the Guendouzi train, just like Ryan there.
You like him. Okay.
I think he was probably a strong shout for player of a match the first 7-8 games of the season. I think all the team chaos, the players dropping tools, firing Emery, all that unsettled him.
I agree with players dropping.
in there.
Players did drop the tools around about early October. Tanner.
Right now I'm with Tony. I'm with Ryan in the comments. I'm for Guendouzi right now. There's a player there for sure. I think he needs a bit of a disciplinarian as a coach to reel him in a little bit. I think he has a lot to offer. I still think he needs to be coached up. Probably the worst thing that I see from him is he just holds the ball too long. When he has the ball on his foot, he needs to make quicker decisions. But beyond that, I'm all for him right now. I will say, that being said, everybody has a price, and if somebody came in and blew the doors off with an offer, and I would say 45 to 50 million, yep, sell him.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
But that aside, no, you keep Guendouzi because he's only what, 20, 19, 20. So you don't give up on a kid that shows his skill set and his fire and intensity. You don't just move him on, on a whim for that. You work with that because there's something there.
Okay, 2-2 here. Rohan.
See, like I said, I like his attitude. I like his fight. If it's within the 90 minutes, in terms of footballing skill, has he shown me enough for him to be Arsenal first team 11? No, I don't know what he's good at. That's my problem with him. He holds on to the ball too long. He's not a number 8 Ramsey style player who would go in and score because he hasn't got that scoring record. He's not a defensive midfielder, and he's not a Thiago, Tony Cruz sort of a player who's going to like shuffle it around. So what is his role in that midfield? I'm unclear of that. And he, I think, is himself unclear of that. He thinks that his biggest attribute is just, entering into every fight that's going on in the pitch and just running around like a headless chicken, and the fact that, some people can praise the fact that he runs around so much, while for others it can be tactical naivety, right? He doesn't know where to be, and that's the reason why he's running around so much everywhere. You can look at it either way. What I would think is that, like Tanner said, if we get an offer high enough, sell Guendouzi. If not, I would really think send him on loan or something next season. He needs to. If he was the one who was mouthing off these players and saying, I earn more than you, then he needs to get a taste of cold showers and, not warm seats and, something like that in the lower level, and then to come back. And maybe he would have found his niche by then. But right now, I don't think he's Arsenal first team 11. He's a squad player at best.
So, send him up to somewhere like Hull or Grimsby for a season, see how he likes it up there.
Exactly.
Huddersfield. And
not that we've got anything against Hull or Grimsby, guys.
when Fabregas came into the team, you could see his quality right away. Albeit he was playing in a good team. Let's just say
he had partners. Guendouzi doesn't have any partners.
Yes, he's got Xhaka.
Let's not go there.
Okay, Hopes. 50-50, keep or sell.
At the minute, I don't see we've got a choice. We've got to keep him. He's my third centre midfield after, let's say, Xhaka and Torreira partnership. I think I agree with everyone. Well, I know I agree with everyone when they say, allow him to do his football, to do the talking, his tactical awareness. When I've seen him at the Emirates, in the final third, he just gets confused or he tries to go down and get a pen. But at the same time, would I want Guendouzi or El Neni? I'll take Guendouzi, because it's also a case of, if he goes, what do we have? And we don't. I think he does the job. He does a better job there than anyone else would do, like Willock or, to some extent, I think he does a better, no, not to some extent, I would say he does a better job in that position than Ceballos does. And I was surprised not to see him on that pitch today. So, overall, if we had a choice and the right money came in, get rid of him. However, at the moment, we can't, because, it's a bit like our centre-back we're just banged to rights, because of the poor decisions this club makes with transfers.
Before we leave this topic, let me ask one other question. Is everybody happy with what Arteta did on the discipline front with Guendouzi? I am. 2 no's, 3 yeses, and Tanner is, nodding. Okay, 4 yeses. They're happy with Arteta. Tony and Hopes. Why are you unhappy with that decision, Hopes?
Because in one hand, everybody's crying out for there not being a leader and leadership skills. Okay, I'm not saying what his actions were tactical leadership skills. But when I look back over the years and I see Vieira and Adams, they were not, they were not clean. They used to go in. Again, I understand the point, the way they went in within 90 minutes, they affected the game, right? Blah, blah, blah. However, at the minute, we've got no one to do that. We've got no one to stand up to someone and say, "Oi, don't do that," even if it means getting a yellow card or what have you. The fact that nothing happened and the FA didn't make anything out of it is there. It's there for all to be seen. However, what I worry about now, if I'm a Saka, a Willock, a Nketiah, a Tierney, and I'm thinking, whoa, if I kind of lose it a bit, North London derby style, or even like a rival London team, if I kind of lose it a bit, am I going to then get the Guendouzi treatment? So what vibes is that putting out across the squad by Mikel Arteta?
I'll tell you what, Hope. So we've gone so far south in terms of our discipline overall in the club that he has to draw a line in the sand somewhere to put these players on notice that this is what's going to happen. And Tony, I'm going to go to you next then, because you're shaking your head as well. Tony, why do you disagree with what Arteta did?
Luis goes and gets red cards in the game. Then he's right when he's available, right back in the team. Contract.
You had to bring Luis into this, didn't you?
Had to bring McClown in.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a perfect segue to the next section in leadership. We do not have
one quick point on that. I mean, would it be fair to say then that we don't want to extinguish the fire that's in Guendouzi?
Correct.
What we want to, what Mikel Arteta may have done is, we don't know. He may have sort of said to the team, he's got to be able to harness it and focus it in the right moments, in the right times. We're not saying that he can't be passionate and fired up, but what Mikel Arteta's job is now to do is to want to say to him, we like that. We love it that you care. We love it that it matters to you. But we've got to show you now how to harness it and use it at the right times. Because you almost dropped us in it.
And I think, Stan, when something similar like this happens in the future, he's going to go case by case. I don't think he's going to go, well, Guendouzi got dropped, I'm going to do this to the next player. I think he's going to take it case by case and put his explanation on it. That's what I think. Rohan, you want to get in?
Yeah, so I don't think anybody is going to take any example of this. I mean, there must have been a debriefing that would have happened, and he must exactly know what he's done and
explain
to extinguish the fire. Like I said, I like his attitude, his fight that he has on the pitch. My problem with Guendouzi is not his attitude. If he's done something wrong, he's faced the repercussions, and now we move on. That's it. His issue and the bigger issue is what his skill set is, and that is what he needs to find out. We don't need to get bothered by all of this talk right now, because that's not important.
So I want to give a shout out to everybody watching on playback and watching live. Thanks for watching tonight.
Big up yourselves.
Big up yourselves. We are covering all 3 games in terms of banners. And who wants to get in, Tanner or Stan?
Go on, Tanner.
On the Guendouzi thing right now that we're talking about. It's just what Rohan said. It just, look, kid's young. All right, and the thing that started this whole thing was Hope's comment that he approved of what Guendouzi did at the end of the Brighton game. I don't approve of the timing. I approve of the action. And I think Arteta needs to sit him down and say, okay, here's the deal, man. You are an integral part of this team, of this club. You may not start every match, but you're going to get your playing time. And you go out and you do something like this. And what if you would? And it's just like I said. What if you would have gotten banned? What if the FA would have handed you 3 games? Now what? And I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you had no impact on the game in terms of your actions after it, and now you've affected us negatively for the next 3. So you need to think about what you are doing. I love the passion. I love the fight. And I do not disagree with some of the sentiment that's floating around out there that Guendouzi can be a future captain of this club. If he's here with Tierney, I think that goes to Kieran Tierney, but he could be part of the leadership hierarchy. So just reel it in. And as far as today goes and him not getting a shirt, I think that's what it is. I think Arteta sat him down. It's like, look, man, all right, they didn't give you a ban. I'm going to. And you're going to learn your lesson one way or the other.
Yeah. Dan, you're finding this amusing.
I just made myself chuckle because I was listening to Tanner, and when he said to I can imagine Arteta saying to Guendouzi, what if you'd got a ban? And in my head, I just had this image of Guendouzi looking back at Mikel Arteta and going, yeah. And if my auntie had nuts, she'd be my uncle. I was just imagining him mouthing off. Do you know what I mean? Not just listening.
Well, I'd say he said it in French, but Arteta knows French, so he probably.
All right, let's segue into this next banner here. Leadership.
Non-existent.
Yeah, non-existent, Tony. Exactly right. There are no leaders in this team, Hopes.
No, absolutely not. And, when we go 1-0 down, there's no one to stand up and, get some structure going. I heard Mikel today just shouting and trying to get them to do stuff. Bellerin, he turns up sometimes. He doesn't turn up most of the times. Aubameyang's being given the captaincy band, but he's too far up forward. He's not he's not that kind of leader. Xhaka is just, he because of the errors in him, it's hard to look at him as a leader. Louise the same. Mustafi,
thing we have.
It may be the closest thing we have, yeah, but like leader, and I'm thinking someone who's bold, who's accountable, who can lead from the front, who has an understanding. However, having said of all of that, Mikel Arteta today has put him in very high regard, Granit Xhaka. But overall, it's not just this season. Even Emery, when Emery came in and he named 5 captains, because we just don't have that one person. You can't even say Lacazette because he doesn't get any game time. If I had to, if it was my choice, I'd probably say Leno.
Yeah.
He's got a good opportunity of seeing everything from where he's at.
Always difficult as a goalkeeper to be the leader, though.
But yeah, it'd be Peter Schmeichel was.
Yeah, but Manchester United did not win titles just because Peter Schmeichel was the captain or whatever,
No, but he was a leader.
Yeah.
And we don't have that, unfortunately.
Let me get a quick question in here from Michael Mills, and thanks for joining us, Michael. You're new around here. Hope you subscribe. Good win today. Interesting to see what team Arteta will go with on Sunday. I tweeted that I figured that the team would not vary that much from Brighton till today. We had three changes, I believe. Tierney, Granit Xhaka, and I'm blanking on the last one, but
Eddie
and Keddy. Thanks. I think that we're going to keep the same team pretty much again. What does everyone else think for Sunday?
Just 1 or 2 changes.
And what changes could you make?
Four. There were 4 changes today, but Martinez was the other one from Leno.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So I think it's pretty much going to be the same team, right?
Well, I don't know because Tierney came off and he's got cramp.
Yeah, he seemed like he had cramps though.
Bios, I don't know. Even if Tierney did not have cramp, I don't know why Mikel gave him one game and then took him off and then he's given him another one. I'm not surprised the guy's got cramp. You know, I can kind of see why, after seeing the first 30 minutes of today's game, why Mikel prefers Nketiah, because he can just keep on running and running and running and running, whereas Laka sort of like tires out after a while, you know, age and so on and so forth. But overall, I could probably say that Pepe might not get a shot because of the way Sheffield United are, you know, pretty bold. They're going to be like pushing us off the ball. Very well compact. We're going to need to cover the right back, even though our right hand side is absolutely shit. You know, Bellerin, we got 0 from Bellerin today. But yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if what's his face? You know, if Pepe starts, maybe he'll do what he did against City and put Saka back in there.
Right. Okay, Michael. I hope we answered that question for you. We'll get back to the leadership. Rohan, we lost hopes, but we lost the BFG, we lost Koscielny, and we've lost other players that we could have pointed to as captain material in previous years.
Were they really leaders though? Like, I mean, I have for this whole decade, since like 2010, 2011, I've been hearing the same thing, that we lack leaders, which was one of my reservations against having Arteta, because when Arteta was here, we used to say we lack leaders. So is he going to be a leader once he's become the coach? He's showing his leadership capability, but within the squad, you know, I don't think that Koscielny was a great leader. You know,
not
to enforce fines, but I don't know how much of a leader he was.
I mean, maybe not a great leader, but he was one of the better leaders in those teams.
Yeah, that's true.
You're taking Koscielny out and replacing him with David Luiz. Well, we know what we've got with David Luiz in the last 2 years.
Because Koscielny was a better defender than that David Luiz. That's what it was. But I think within this current Arsenal setup that we have, yeah, I mean the leaders that I would want on that pitch, one is Tierney. He is a leader. He says the right things. He does the right things. And when he's playing, you know, with his heart on his sleeve. I like that. Leno, definitely. I mean, he's the most hard-working or hard-worked player in our team. And, you know, I think he deserves the position of authority to shout at people. And apart from that, that's it. Like, I mean, Granit Xhaka, amongst all of these people, does have the capability, but doesn't have the sporting ability. That's his problem. So, yeah.
He's a great cheerleader.
Let me, Ray, can I ask a question to the panel?
Yeah, I was going to bring you in by saying I think all of these players are pretty level and equal in terms of their stature and their abilities as the leadership, let's say. They're all looking around the dressing room at each other like, no, you can be the guy. No, I don't want to be the guy. You can be the guy.
Him?
Nobody's taking that mantle, Tanner.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask the panel was, do you think that to be captain, is it a prerequisite to be the best player on your team?
Nope.
Not at all.
You have to be one of the better players on the team. Yes.
Just in terms of just pure ability, you have to be one of the best players on the team.
Yeah,
I agree with those. No, I don't think you have to be the best player on the team.
Well, your captain's got to be a main starter, someone that's going to be, usually in every game. So they've got to,
in the top 3 or 4.
Everybody kind of ridiculed Emery for the 5 captain thing, and that was kind of a point where I was kind of like, wait, why are people upset about this? Like, I understand that you have one captain at a time, but there can very easily be a leadership hierarchy here to say, okay, you're the captain, period. You are the captain, but these 4 guys are your deputies, basically. I never saw a problem with that. I never understood why anybody would have a problem with a quote unquote leadership hierarchy.
Here's my problem with it. My problem with that is if it was Unai Emery that said, okay, this is our captain, these are the 4 guys that back him up. I get that, but from what I gather, it was all done by committee. It's almost like Unai Emery said, who do you want?
Well, yeah, that's
Short straws.
And again, you know, the banner says leadership right there and then. To me, that's a lack of leadership.
Yeah, I agree with that. The process I absolutely agree with. And one guy should be the captain, and that guy, I'll be honest with you, I think it should be voted on by the team. I think the players should have a say in it because they're the ones. Well, but why? So
where does it go next? Let them start picking the formation as well.
You're the coach. You're going to choose the captain, and you're going to choose a guy that none of the fucking players follow.
Doesn't work like that. I mean, where does it end? You let them start picking the formation, the substitutes?
What do you mean, where does it end? This is one of those things that is figured out in training camp. And if the captain is there this year and he's there next year, he's still the fucking captain. He's the fucking captain. And the players on the pitch, this is why you let them choose. They have to follow it. You don't let the coach go in and be like, okay, you're my guy. And none of the players on the team like it.
Okay. So let's run with that for 1 second, Hannah, right? So let's say they all choose Ozil. Yeah, then what are you going to do?
What am I going to do?
No, you know what I mean, metaphorically speaking. If all the players, if we follow your logic on this, right, and we say the players pick the captain and they say, all right, we want Mesut Ozil to be our captain.
We send him some umbrellas.
Or
I think at that point, I got to be honest, folks, I don't really understand the question. What do you mean, where do we go? It's not. Here's the thing.
Hold on. Whoa. Right. Back up. Right.
Understand
you just said. No. Hold on. You've just said the players should pick the captain, right?
Yes.
Right. So now, let's say we're all the players, and all of us, we picked Mesut Ozil. Do you understand? What happened then?
If we all picked, so what you're saying
so all the players, all the 22 Arsenal players, they turn around and they all picked Mesut Ozil.
Unanimous.
If you heard that and you said, so now what you've said is not only do I think Mesut Ozil shouldn't be captain, but apparently we have 21 other guys who are just a bunch of fucking idiots.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say to you. Yeah, that's what I'm.
We aren't playing. We're not on the fucking pitch. We don't have to follow Granit Xhaka if he's the captain.
All right, okay. Do you want me to name? Okay. Tanner. Let me ask you the same question in a different way, right? You've got Martinez, you've got Tierney, you've got Holding, you've got Mustafi, you've got Bellerin, Ceballos, Xhaka, Saka, Eric Aubameyang, you've got Pepe, you've got Nketiah, Socrates.
Right.
You've got all
Mesut Ozil as their captain. Who are we to say they're fucking wrong?
But what? No. But
one leader, one coach.
What? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because they've picked Ozil and Ozil doesn't play. So how can Ozil be the?
What if they all turn around? What if they all turn around and they say, "We want Mkhitaryan to be our captain. Can you bring him back from Rome?" What are we supposed to do?
I mean, we're being silly. I mean, why don't we just go see if Patrick Vieira will come and sit in the stands and we can make it happening?
But that's the point about giving players the choice, right?
What if the team pick a player that isn't in the manager's plans?
Exactly. Or the manager's got something against him, right?
They don't know who his selections are going to be yet.
And therein lies why you have a hierarchy. Okay, so do you want the example? Do you want me to give you? Because I was trying to avoid it, but I'll give you the fucking example. Do you know who does this?
Oh.
In there, every fucking hockey team. Those players pick their fucking captain, and it's done at the beginning of training camp. Stan, to your point, what if that player isn't in the coach's plans? That's why, to a degree, you as the coach steer them in a direction. You don't just say, "Hey, here's the academy players. Here's the senior members. Pick a fucking captain." No.
Why don't you just pick him yourself then? If you're the manager, pick it yourself. Why are you steering the players to pick someone for you?
Because they're the ones because it's respect. It's fucking respect.
Is there an argument that a lack of respect to the manager if they're like, well, he doesn't. He lets us do it all. Is there a lack of respect?
No, not at all. I couldn't disagree with that more.
Hold on. Tina wants to have a word. Tony wants to have a word.
Maybe they do in hockey.
You pick a fucking captain and vice captain, and you're fucking done.
Yeah,
Who does that?
Time out. Tony, what did you say?
Said you pick a captain and a vice captain, and you're fucking done with it.
But who does that? Who does that?
The manager, the coach. So,
right, just move on to the next point, please.
In hockey, that's okay because every hockey player is going to play, right?
No. Hang on. No.
You got 4 lines. They're all playing.
Sidney Crosby is the captain of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and in 2011, Sidney Crosby played exactly half the season. He was the team captain. For half the season, he didn't play because he was injured.
Well, injuries happen.
I just think that comparing.
I will say to that point that once he was injured, nobody got the C put on their jersey. There were 3 assistant captains on the ice. But he said that hierarchy comes into play. So to Hope's point, if it's Mesut Ozil and he's not playing, so who's the next guy in line?
It's apples and oranges.
Guys,
what's your next point?
The game is structured different. You've got more stoppages. You've got players that are going into sin bins. So, you may have your captain. You may have to change things around. And I can appreciate that. But at the end of the day, this ain't hockey.
We ain't got a captain at the end of the day. Next point, move on. Otherwise, we're going to start to think about netball.
It's not a social club as well. We have to have one coach who's going to make the decisions, and I don't agree with the players making that decision who's going to be captain.
Not when there are current players, no.
No.
When I
probably pick Guendouzi.
When I think of this, I think of the Arsenal players, I think they're like me, who would just pick my friend, regardless of whether or not that guy is even worthy of being in the team. I'll be like, this guy pays. Like, Ozil has a great reputation with all the players because apparently he pays for all of them. Not that they need to get paid, but that's what Welbeck said. He just called them and say that I have an extra ticket. Are we going to Prague? And just hop along. That's the sort of. So if I was in that team, I would vote for Ozil. But is that good for the club? No, it's not.
Well, apparently Xhaka isn't good for the club either, but he's the fucking captain.
So the idea is, what is the role of the captain?
Well,
right? The role of the captain is to implement the coach's orders on the pitch. That is what his role is as the captain, right? So there's communication crystal clear with the coach, and if that's not the case, then that's a problem. So I think what I would do was maybe somewhere in the middle, where I would say, these are the 3 guys that I've thought of. Now, do you want to choose one of them as being the captain, or these are the 2 guys, or not? Whatever it is, if you want to give them a sense of democracy, which it's not, but if you want to give them a sense of that, then that's fine. Otherwise, the coach chooses it and everybody just lives with it.
No, that's the thing. I mean, all the players do, which was kind of to my point. But here we are. Granit Xhaka gets named captain. He gets the armband, and nobody's fucking happy about it. Aubameyang, the best player, gets the armband. Nobody's fucking happy about it. Now, on the one hand, this team doesn't have any leaders, so it's kind of a moot point. So it's like, again, hate to say it, I made this example last night, but we're back to choosing the smartest kid with Down syndrome right now. Like, and again, no offense, but that's what it is. We don't like anybody on the team. We don't like anybody on the team to be the captain. Nobody has that quality in them. But if the coach picks, we don't like who the coach picked. I say, let the players pick, and it's like, well, it's a fucking social club. So what's the answer? Because we're all bitching about who the coach picks and saying he's getting it fucking wrong.
I think you hit the nail on its head, Tanner. I think you hit the nail on its head. Yeah. It's a moot point. It's a bullshit point by the host. The host, can we have the next question, please?
Yeah, hold on. Right there on the bottom. Look, the banner
out there for 5 minutes.
I'd like to say something on leadership, right? And moving away from the actual that subject. And you know what? This is probably the first time that I've been on this show, coming on the fan circle. One of the first times that we've all had a real difference of opinion on something, right? Mm-hmm. So it's fantastic that we've all got these different opinions.
No,
But
it's great. Usually I play nice, and I'm not playing nice tonight.
my biggest fear, though, about leadership.
Up in the penalty box.
My biggest fear is that we get to the summer, and let's say Aubameyang, we're unable to secure his services. And let's say most of the Arsenal fan base get their wish, and we move on our vice-captain, Hector Bellerin. Who's going to get the armband then? And I think it's a choice of two people that I'm thinking of. And I don't want either of them. It'll either go back to Xhaka or it will go to David Luiz. And that's my biggest fear about leadership moving into next season.
Yeah.
Let me rope just to Rohan's point, and this is all, and then I'm done. My only thing with letting the players do this, because Rohan, you're with this group of players. Unfortunately, I think you're right. I think it would be a social club. I think it would be a fucking popularity contest, and I don't agree with that. So my point, I should have probably said this up front. My point is predicated on the players being professional enough to look in that room and say, okay, you're my best friend, but you're not a good leader. That dude, I'm not exactly going out having dinner and drinks with every night, but he's a damn good leader. He's a damn good footballer, and he's going to take us to the promised land. So I'm predicating that statement
where do you think
on professionalism.
Where do you think our current Arsenal squad lies? Which side of professionalism do you think they are?
The wrong side.
Exactly. That's why they should not pick.
The wrong side.
And look, Tanner, I'm going to tie all this up, okay?
Yeah, I'm done. That's it. Move on.
We can move on to the next spot. But would you like to be in Arteta's shoes, picking a captain out of this lot? Aubameyang is our best captain in the squad, but he doesn't show captain qualities at times because he let something go off with Guendouzi and just
Yep. That's great. That is a great point because nobody, to Stan's point, nobody ran down and got in anybody's face when Lennon was lying on the ground, writhing on the ground in pain, screaming his head off. To back that up, nobody went and got in Guendouzi's face and pulled him away like, whoa, what do you settle down there, cowboy? Because it ain't going to end well for you because the team nobody did.
You know what they did, Tanner? They took the time card and clocked out there in the 93rd minute, and they went to the dressing room. They were done, going to pick up the paycheck the next day.
Hey, I love you guys. I get heated, so no offense to anybody if I pissed anybody off.
No, I mean,
get in your penalty box.
You just had 5 people against you, Tanner. So big up yourself.
I like my odds. Let's go.
You're literally in the bottom right-hand corner, fighting your corner right there. So
go to your corner.
All right, next section is desire. So Tanner definitely showed some of that there to the team. You know.
Anybody tells me you love this fucking football club.
Who wants to go first? I'm going to open it up. Desire over the 3 games. Didn't seem to be much in Manchester City because I still think the players knew they weren't going to win up in Manchester City, and things went against us. So I think it was the worst thing that Arteta could have said was to say, let's just delete this from the hard drive. That was the worst thing he could have said. Send all the wrong signals. And let's be fair here. Arteta is making mistakes as well. But we're backing him, but he's making mistakes. And the team's going to make mistakes. And a coach who's 15, 20 games into his career is going to make mistakes. But he made mistakes sending that signal. There was definitely a lack of desire and will to win at Brighton. And I think something happened in the intervening 5 days that we got to win today. I think Joe Willock said that they've been training really, really hard. Tony, you're shaking your head already.
After losing 2 in a row, I still don't think we showed much fight or desire today.
You didn't see encouragement.
A little bit in the first half, but not near enough for losing 2 in a row. Everybody busting their ass, balls out, balls deep. So they weren't doing their job.
Well, you didn't see Eddie closing the goalkeeper down and trying to get that ball for the first goal. Because that wouldn't happen if you don't have desire to go do that.
Well, 1 guy out of 11 doesn't count, really, does it, Ray?
Yeah. Let's open it up to the other 4. Anyone want to jump in? Desire. What have you seen in 3 games? Rohan.
If Arteta did say that we'll get nothing out of this game, then he's lacked leadership and desire. and that should be the last time that he says something
No,
like
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Arteta said that for the City game. I think you're referring to, right? But
yeah.
the players know.
If he did send those signals, then I don't want to see any of those signals from game week 1 because we're going to be judging him from then. So, but no desire. The players looked like they had lost already when they entered the Man City game. And today, Chelsea has shown that Man City are beatable. Manchester United beat them at the Etihad. Why should we fear them when we were in good form before COVID? And we didn't give any account of ourselves. So that was that. Against Brighton, we were unlucky in the first half not to be more goals ahead. But then, was there any desire once they scored or once we got the first goal? Was there any desire to close the game, to get the second goal, not allow them? Eventually they scored off a 1-2. That's basic, right? They scored off a 1-2, their winner. And how many times did we try 1-2s around their box? And every time their defensive midfielder was running in, clearing the ball, their defenders were running in, clearing the ball. That's desire, the desire that those guys. I have that image etched in my memory of Dunk actually sliding and then Aubameyang getting the ball back and he's sort of going back. That Emily Rose spider walk. He's almost doing that, and trying to get his face in the way. That's real desire, and we don't have that today. We sort of went up against Southampton, who I thought were going to be a big challenge,
Yeah,
but they weren't.
and they weren't.
We were lucky, they had that one chance. I think apart from that, they didn't, and that's what it is. But we'll know desire in the run-in. Now we've got to play Wolves. We have to first play this quarterfinal. Then we have Wolves, Leicester, Spurs, Liverpool. Do we have desire
Norwich.
or not? We'll see
Don't
that.
forget Norwich. Norwich is the next league game at home.
Sure.
Tanner, desire. What did you see in the team over 3 games? Varying levels. I mean, each game is different. I'll give you that. Manchester City, the players know they're not going to go and win that unless they put maximum effort into the game, and they didn't want it on the night last Wednesday. Brighton, they went 1-0 up and didn't have the mental capacity to close the game out, to be strong enough. And here today, we went through the motions. Let's say, put an effort in. I'm basing my hearsay off today off of 12 minutes of highlights that I watched on YouTube. So you're all better placed than me to speak about Southampton. Tanner?
Eddie showed desire today. You can't. He was running his ass off, man. He really was. But overall, over 3 games as a collective unit, the level of desire it's not even moving the needle right now. Going back to the City game, I thought we stayed with them until the
42.
Until the City really started to take that game over after the Mari injury. So 24 minutes, but 24 minutes in, and I thought we were right there, and I really thought it. I was like, okay, I'm seeing something here. City they're the more talented side. We know that. But as I've said before, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But this team just doesn't want to work hard, and they're not talented enough to not work hard. The desire factor is way down. It was way down today. I mean, Eddie's goal notwithstanding, and the Willock goal notwithstanding, the overall level of desire was way down today. Just again, guys just do out for a Sunday stroll when the ball's on the other side. It's like, go make something happen, just do something. But I get you conserve a little energy here. You take 30 seconds if you got balls on the other side of the pitch. But
this is something we definitely need to start with on Sunday. Got our hopes, desire.
I think it's a collective. Since the last 2 seasons of Arsene Wenger, we haven't had desire, and I think that's because of a lack of game plan as well. It's a mixture of the tactics, what the players are asked to do. Can they do it? To what extent can they do it? And something disconnects, and then they just go south like really quickly. Again, I think in the last 3 games against City, up until you jinxed it, Ray, when you said, "Oh, in the last minute," and then they went and scored. And
I'm a supporter. I know this team inside out.
And then against Brighton, I think the chances were there, but it's like kind of like what Mikel said today about being consistent for that 90 minutes. Why do we switch off? And part of me thinks I think this is our 3rd game post lockdown, and it's like our 3rd different system. So it's a constant chopping and changing. What are we asking? There is not one set style of play or like a plan B or a plan C. 87th minute substitute. So how fired up can the players be when they're kind of, I don't know, like losing the will under certain managers and like what they're doing, like Tony said in like what he spoke about earlier on when they down tools and they just couldn't do the basics, and that's what we lack. We've got this arrogance about us that a sense of entitlement. But yet we can't do the basics. And why is that? Over and over and over again. And then we cut our noses to spite our faces. And, it's just like, oh, yeah, whatever. And we just carry on. And then I don't just think it's the players. Then that desire is carried up. Then you bring in the sign-ins and giving Luis another contract. And what are they thinking? Like, what individual players thinking? Like, does anyone know what's going on here? So what does that then do to their desire overall? Let me just come in and pick up a paycheck. So I think it's a few different aspects here.
Yeah. Tony, talk about desire, Tony, and let's talk football.
Got off Pornhub.
I pretty much said it all earlier. Just to me, we not near enough desire for losing 2 in a row. They need to be out there playing a hell of a lot harder than they are.
Before I'll go to Stan on this topic then, but quick, I'll go to you first, Stan. Desire, what do you got to say about?
Well, before I get to desire, I don't know what Stephen Denman's talking about. No one's wearing glasses, so I don't know what's happening over there with him. He seems to think we're all wearing glasses and something about ecstasy. I don't know what he's talking about. He must be on the ecstasy again tonight. I don't know. But desire, again, and I have to disagree a little bit with Tanner. With this particular game today, I saw more desire. I'm not saying it's where it needs to be. And my example for that is every time Southampton tried to ping the ball into our box, who was there with his head? Who was there with his head making sure that ball was cleared away? Rob Holding.
Yeah.
And
Stan, I agree with you wholeheartly on that. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
And the 2 goals as well for me, Eddie's goal came with the keeper making a really duff pass, but he had to get to the end of it. He had to be alert, see that mistake, and make his legs stretch to get there, and he got his goal. And the same with the Willock goal. It was off of the back of that free kick, and then the keeper stealed the ball, and he come running in. He come running in with one of those, I was going to say fuck off shots, excuse my language, but that's what you can call it, straight in the back of the net. So, and I like that, because if you compare it to the Brighton game, we'd kind of already done the hard work. We managed to get ourselves in front. And we couldn't add a second goal to give us a little bit of a cushion, or we couldn't do something where we locked up shop and made sure that they couldn't get one in. I mean, there was no desire. So comparison-wise, I saw improvement, but it's not where it's still need. There's still a little way for it to go. Do you know what I mean? It's not oozing throughout the whole team just yet.
Hey Stan, I'm gonna go around the table. Start with you. Your gut. What does it tell you about Arteta being able to engender desire into the squad for the rest of the season?
I think he's going to, I mean, you can't have the kind of press conferences and the verbiage that he comes out with. I mean, he's saying it to us. He's saying it to them as well, and everything that he says is encouraging.
Can he motivate them?
Can he motivate them? Well, he did today. Because the scariest thing that could have happened today, I mean, you know, yes, we should have beaten Southampton, and we did. But you could equally say that we should have beaten Brighton. Now, you should be able to say that some of the players that we have in our squad should be able to do enough to beat Brighton. So, you know, at 1-1 in this game, at 1-0 at this game, I was still nervous. I didn't think that the job was done. And, you know, I was saying to the guys on the watch along, I'm not comfortable here until we get another goal and get a little bit of security. And then, mate, you know what I mean? We had it in the bag at Brighton. Should have had that in the bag.
Yeah, 87th minute. Tony, are you confident that Mikel Arteta can get a tune out of the squad, motivate them, and have that desire in the team for the rest of the season, for the majority of the game?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, there's 2 players in the first half, Holding and Eddie were really ones only out there busting their balls, and it wasn't until Willock and Lacazette came on with that free kick. Lacazette kicked the ball as hard as he could twice, and got it in the back of the net.
From Lacazette, great shot. Tanner.
Yeah, you know what? I think he can. And here's the thing too. And I'm a broken record here the past couple of weeks, but I think today, in getting the win, is going to energize the players going into Sunday. And I think that, coupled with, you know, Arteta, I think he can get them. I think he can engender some more desire into this team. But I think winning today will help his cause. Had we lost today, I'd probably be singing a different tune.
Sheffield United on Sunday, and then Norwich at home in the Premier League.
So theoretically, I mean, Sheffield are not playing well right now. I'm not going to call them shit because I don't think they are. They're not playing well right now. So Sunday is going to be a challenge.
Make no mistake, Tanner. They're going to fight as hard for the FA Cup as we should.
Yep. Because they still have, really, they're on the doorstep of European football for next season after 1 year of promotion. So
yeah, I mean they're probably 2 points better off than us. They're not much further than us now after this win today.
No, but they're still there. They are still on the doorstep. And
yeah, we're pretty much 2 points worse off, but in the same position, both the league and the FA Cup, obviously, for them. Rohan, motivation, desire, Arteta with the squad rest of the season.
Like I said, he needs to pick the team to understand what he's going to do next season. I would like him to put out the strongest 11 in the FA Cup, the strongest possible 11. I don't mind seeing a few changes in the Premier League games going in.
Yeah.
You know, for me, honestly, it is his time to decide whether Mustafi stays or goes, whether Socrates stays or goes, whether Sabayo should be extended for another season or not. A bunch of players. And he needs to know what needs to be done with them. And within that, he needs to motivate them. And that should be motivation enough, right? That you guys are under audition. Now, buck up, otherwise you're getting sold.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that as well. We'll come on to the next segment that sort of covers the youth and all of that stuff. Motivation under Arteta, finish the season strong.
I think initially when he came in, there was that new manager spike, but I'm now struggling to see what he's trying to do on the pitch. His different substitutions his late substitutions, his different starting 11, going back to what Rohan said, okay, he's trying different things. He's been played with a few injuries, but I thought, in the first few games that I saw Arsenal after he came in, there was beginning to form a style of play, and now I can't see it. So I'm kind of worried about all of his motivational talks. Bit like what Stan said the other night. He sounds like he should be on TED Talks or something. But I didn't say
that was off channel.
But now it's a case of I'm just not seeing enough because Sheffield United on a downward spiral, but let's be real, like Brighton didn't win any games and then they played us and then they beat us twice. So it's just I going back to the whole Guendouzi thing and mixing up Eddie and Laka and Tierney and Kolasinac and back in Louise and then back in Xhaka. I think it's worrying times. I would have thought that throughout this lockdown period, he would have had a better idea of what he's wanting to try. And post lockdown, we would have seen some of that, but we just haven't. And okay, you can say the City game. Okay, we'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's delete that from the hard drive. But then be consistent, man. Like you're David Luiz in 2 top games has managed to get a red card, and you've just you're praising him in your press conferences. What sort of desire does, if I was working under him, I'd sort of be smelling a bit of BS and I'd be thinking, I need to see a bit more, like what's going on here. And I'm starting to lose faith.
And like I said earlier in the podcast, Arteta is learning the ropes as well, and he's probably finding his way somewhere between a Pep and a Wenger, and he's caught between both because we know Wenger was very, very soft in some situations. Next segment, I'm going to go to Rohan. He's just beering up right there. Good job, nice one, big up, Rohan. The game went in the game. Okay, this is we're crap at making friends with referees and minimizing our card counts. We're getting yellows and reds. We're one of the highest penalized teams in the Premier League. There is a game within the game here where you can be best friends with the referee. Your captain can know the referee's kids and go, all right, ref, how's the kids doing? How's the missus? Ingratiate yourself with the referee. We're crap with that. We had a Brighton player, Bimusa, who fought fouling all through the game, never got a yellow card. We get yellow cards. We're not able to play that game, Roland.
But we shouldn't have to play that game. The referee needs to be professional. Why should we?
Yeah, every referee is not 100% professional. They're going to have a bias a little bit here and a little bit there.
I wouldn't want my team to be suck-ups to referees. They have an issue. We have to do things in the right way. I thought that today's game, the refereeing was a little bit inconsistent. There was Mustafi won the ball and he got a yellow, while I think, was it Tini or was it Bellerin? One of our fullbacks went in for the ball, and there was a clash there, which I thought was worthy of a yellow, and he didn't get one there. So that's the state of refereeing. We know how English referees are, and that's why they don't get a shout in, international competitions. That's the reality of it. What we can do is we can control the game that we are playing. Don't be stupid. Don't give the ref a decision to make. Do it yourself and do the right thing. That's what you require. I would see game within a game as game management. When we were 1-0 up, we saw it through till halftime. That was great. Once we came back, they got Shane Long on. They went with 2 strikers. We were under the cosh for a little bit. We tried to manage that. I wanted Lacazette to come on a little bit earlier because Nketiah kept losing the ball and we weren't keeping hold of the ball. There was a point in the second half where they showed that the statistic was that in the last 10 minutes, the percentage of play that had happened was 25% on near our goal, 74% in the midfield, and only 1% in over 10 minutes, only 1% near Southampton's goal. And that's because we weren't holding on to the ball. It just kept going back. And that's also game management, right? Making the right substitutions at the right time. So it's the players, it's the coach, it's, timing the substitutions in the right way and making the right substitutions, but they'll learn.
Hi, Stan. we need to be street smart. I believe we need to be street smart with referees. And to Rohan's point, there is another game within the game. To game management, be able to control the game. I think Liverpool uh, has done that very, very well this season. Be able to hold on to the ball, take the thing out of the game, and Manchester City as well play that game very, very well. They know when to strike and when not to strike. But the edge here for me is not gaining yellow and red cards as well. And we need to be a bit clever when dealing with referees that way.
Well, who was the player that was? He got away with a lot of fouls in the Brighton game. His name slips my mind. Who?
Mimousa.
I think that was it. Yeah, but I mean, in a situation like that, I mean, you want your captain talking to the referee and saying, "Look, are you seeing what's going on here? You need to watch this guy." You know, things like that. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of that from Arsenal. You know, and there is a game. You're right. There is a game within a game, and I don't see that. I don't see any of that really going on. You know, I'm not saying that. You know, we want to be as bad as Man United used to be. You know, and have Mikel Arteta standing on there tapping his watch.
Andy Durso around the corner.
Exactly, but you know, you want to be able to, as you say, maybe ingratiate yourself to a little bit to the refs. But you know, Aubameyang doesn't really seem for me that way. And as you said, I mean, you know, he was nowhere to be seen when stuff was kicking off on the pitch, right? He just basically shrunk away. So, I mean, the two things dovetail, don't they? You know, the previous subject was leadership, and this one is desire. And I think both of those things, they go hand in hand, you know?
Yeah. And Stan, you used to see Troy Deeney from Watford. He's very pally with the referees. I've seen that as well. Any other comments in this game within the game before we get to the next section? Tony? Helps?
I think he's still waiting too late to make subbing Lacazette on at 7.
Yeah, game management with Mikel Arteta. That's definitely something that needs to improve. The Brighton game was an aberration, I'd say. I heard the substitutions were a lot better in the Southampton game.
I think. Go ahead, Hope. Sorry.
I remember, like, under Unai Emery, when, you know, our players were getting in the ref's face and they were trying, and, you know, that was going against us. Also, what got to remember is if we're going to try and get on the good side of some refs, there are just some refs like Mike Dean. He's just, you know, he's just a separate entity. You know what I mean? It's like he just wants to go out and make a name for himself. You know, you just don't know where you're at with him. So kind of like what Rohan said, like focus on what we can control, and then, you know, with the manager backing up the players, and also the manager having a go at the ref if he doesn't have that leader on the pitch, a bit like Mourinho, and, you know, like, you know, getting sent up to the stands and what have you. Okay, not so aggressive, but, you know, I guess as you asked this question, I thought a lot of the European teams, like, you know, you see like Real Madrid and Barcelona, and they really get into the refs' faces out there, don't they? Like Juve, and, you know, I think we need a bit more of it. But to be honest, with our set of players, I just don't know who could do it, because
they're not intelligent enough, Hopes. These players on the continent have the nous to understand the referee's soft or a referee's more hard after the first 10 minutes. They know what to get away with referees.
Yeah, you think about Ramos and the amount of, like, you know, he could have gone to prison by now with all the tackles he's made, and he's gotten away with, you know. But yeah, no, I just think we need someone like that, because, you know, how many times Guendouzi going to go up to the ref before he just decks him? You know, it's like it's just not, you know, it's a mixture of things basically.
Yeah. Okay, next section, youth coming through. Tanner, we saw it today. Nketiah and Joe Willock, but this Saka, I'm very excited about Saka. We got to tie him down. If we have time at the end, we're going to talk about contracts a little bit later. This is the second to last section. Youth coming through. I'm very, very enthused about this youth coming through. And if anything, they've been doing it by themselves. They haven't really had the experienced pros helping them too much, from what I could see.
Yeah. Obviously Eddie and Joe being the goal scorers today. A while back here when we were talking about the desire, in the club and what we saw, I want to make a point about Eddie's goal. And while the goalkeeper made it was an absolute atrocity what he did, but Eddie's pressure forced that mistake. If Eddie's just laying back, like, okay, he's got the ball at his feet, let it go. Passes completed or pass goes wherever it goes. But Eddie's running at the goalkeeper. So the desire there, he's making a play. He's making something happen. He's taking the fight to the opponent, And
he probably sensed the fear in the keeper. That's why he went after him.
I've been retweeting all day a GIF or a GIF, whatever. I don't know how you say it, but whatever the kids call them these days. But I kept
peanut butter.
I kept retweeting. It was a lion hunting, or what looked like a lion hunting, and I'm like, yeah, like I don't like, yeah, fuck it. Let put the young kids out there and let's go fucking hunt.
Yeah, and this season is all about that, Tanner.
And the thing is with this fan base, and this is kind of what drives me nuts. It's nobody's ever happy. We win 4-0. Well, why didn't we win 6? We missed 2 sitters. We could have won 6.
Never going to please everyone, Tanner.
You're never happy, but with as it relates to the young kids, if you play the young kids and you lose, 50% of the fan base is going to say that's what you get for playing the youth. They're not ready yet.
You'll never win anything with kids. That's what was it? You said that. What's his name from Liverpool? Hansen. Yeah. You'll never win anything with kids.
He's pretty happy tonight, though.
Yeah. Anyway, moving past that, I get it, and it's tough because points are at a premium. We need points. So being in Arteta's shoes and choosing his starting 11 it's not easy. And the kids are going to show the fight. The kids are going to show the fight because they're not just playing for a paycheck right now. They're playing for their paychecks in the future. You know what I mean? They're that like Saka. He's going to get paid. But Eddie, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Joe Willock, to a degree, Pepe, even although he's been paid, but he's still a pretty young guy. I think these guys are going to fight. And I honestly and that wears off on people too. I think if you saw a squad made up of majority youth and they're out there running their dicks off, I honest to God, I think it rubs off. I think that that energy tends to light fires under other people's asses who don't really want to run that much.
Yeah.
So
I know
today I liked, and I got to be honest, I was real excited when Maitland-Niles came on and when Willock came on because more than anything else, I was like, all right, boys, here we go. Like, this is your chance now. You're going to get a chance to either score and put it away or stand your ground and put it away. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks, Tanner. Rohan, I know you got to go soon, so I'm going to get you in here next. Youth coming through. You're good things. Good things.
It's exciting, isn't it? Like, I mean, I'm just thinking of the youth at Arsenal right now who, in a few years could develop. And we've got Saka, Martinelli, and Nketiah, who I rate. Although I don't want him to be the lone striker. I don't want that pressure on him, really. It's for him. It's me. It's not him. So, so I don't want that pressure on him. That's why I don't want him to be the lone striker. But Nketiah. And then, I would still think Tierney is fairly young. Although he's played for a while, he's fairly young. Guendouzi could become something. He has the fire, he has the attitude, but he needs to find his skill set. There's a few more whom we don't know what's happening. Your Reece Nelsons and the Joe Willocks of the team. But all in all, I think we've got a great youth setup. We've got a great squad for success. It's just about channeling them in the right manner and giving them the opportunity while also being competitive. Because you don't also want to get picked off, right? You don't want that. You don't want your players to join other teams just because they aren't winning anything here. That's also a problem. So,
Rohan, real quick, your 2 cents on Saka. This is a player for me who can play any position. Along the left-hand side and the midfield, Tony and I are having this slight disagreement about where he's being set up and where we're playing in formation-wise, but Saka is a talent. I think he's going to end up on the left side of a 3 in midfield, 4-3-3 formation. I think that's the best way we can get Aubameyang and Tierney into the team. But a quick word about Saka. How good can he be?
Left wing. That's where I want to see him play. I want to see him, go up and down. He will do the defensive duty as well because he's sort of practiced that. He can, he's a great dribbler. He's a great crosser. A couple of times, do you remember? Like he put in a peach of a cross today that Lacazette tried to glide in, but it didn't quite go in. But what a cross that was! That is a pinpoint cross that we required, right? Saka does that on a regular basis. He takes on players. I want to see him on the wing. I'm not really sure whether he's a midfield sort of a player with the ball at his feet, trying to beat, trying to give short passes and make space. I don't know if that's him. He could be. He could do anything right now. But I want to see him on the wing. I want to see Aubameyang in the middle. I want to see Pepe down the left. And, basically Martinelli coming in and out of the squad either on the left or through the middle. That's the ideal front line, I would think.
Yeah, and so exciting. We're in a situation here where we've seen Liverpool. We gotta say it, they're Premier League champions, and congratulations to them. And we'll have a little word about them at the end of the podcast as well. But they're in a position, Tanner, where we want to be, and hopefully 2, 3, 4 years from now, we can be there, and those kids can help us get there. But I want to go to Hopes next. Hopes, you've been watching some of before the pre-pandemic. You've been going to some games, watching these youth players play. Give me your take on your perspective on the youth coming through.
Okay, where I'm at with the youth, I'm burnt out with youth since Wenger's days. The hope, Iwobi, Walcott, Bellerin. We're just hoping. Like, we just kind of seem to be some kind of guinea pig club for these youth, and then we just end up selling them for peanuts, or they just go away on a free. Aaron Ramsey, Wiltshire. I've had enough. Where the club is at the minute, I would keep Saka and Martinelli, possibly Nketiah for another season. I'd bring back Emil Smith-Rowe to test him out, and the rest of them, just get rid of them. I do not think Reece Nelson, Willock can cut it. And I know it's kind of ironic because Willock scored today, but are you telling me that you're like, let's say we've got Real Madrid in the quarterfinals of any game, are we going to field these players? Hell no, because they'll just get picked off, because it's men against boys. Okay, there's an argument that we need some youth in there. Cool. That your Sakas and your Martinellis, but where the club is at the minute, we need go-getters. We need names. We need people who are going to fight. And just because they've got youth, hey, it's not always about the speed and so on and so forth. What I think a lot of people forget today, before Eddie scored his goal, Mikel was on his case constantly, and I could hear it. He was like saying, "Chase it down, chase it down, chase it down, chase it down," and I'm just burnt out with youth. I need experience,
Yeah, if he's saying chase it down, and Mikel's coaching him from the sidelines, that's a good thing, though.
Yeah, but how many times are you going
to do it? At
it?
least he can understand him. If it was Unai Emery, he probably wouldn't have had a clue what the manager was telling him.
No, granted, but I just don't think you like Saka. When Saka's got the ball, Martinelli's got the ball. There's that air of excitement. They're going to do it. He doesn't need coaching constantly.
See, the youth excites me, and I think that's the right way to go. That's the pure way to go. That's what Arsenal Football Club has been doing, and we take pride on it for good reason. If you ask me,
what reason though? What have we got from it?
Yeah, and Thunder Road says we're not in a position, as you know, to play Real Madrid.
But I was coming to the other side of it, was that when we do have these big players, when we have the Aubameyangs of the world, we say that we can't pay them money. Let's sell them because we can't make them match, Ozil money. And that's the argument. So which way are we lying? We don't want youth. We can't pay the world class players. So we're somewhere in the middle of shit players, and that's why we're 10th.
Not really. Torreira, Tierney, these kind of guys.
What about them?
And
Well, they're not your Ozils of the world, but they're not exactly shit either.
Yeah, but I don't think that you need that stardust in the team to win the Champions League semi-final, quarter-final, final. You need that Ronaldo in your team. You can't just do it with a bunch of Tierneys. As much in terms of attitude, if we had like a bunch of Tierneys, that would be great. But you need that stardust. But I feel that generally, just look at Oxlade-Chamberlain and how he's done at Liverpool. How has Oxlade-Chamberlain done at Liverpool now?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. He's won the title today. He wasn't.
I was happy for him.
Yeah, but how many games has he played in the Champions League as well? How many games has he played? Yeah, he made the right decision to move. Granted, he made the right decision to move. But the question is about our current youth players. No one's disputing the fact that you need a Ronaldo or a Bale or someone of that caliber for that magic. And we've got Aubameyang and Ozil. He's not in the squad. But with our current youth, what I'm saying is that I'm fed up with just putting all our eggs in most of our baskets with the youth. How long have we been patient with Bellerin? Like how long? And I'm really worried we're going to be doing the same with Pepe.
We're going to get to Bellerin and all of that in the next section, but yes, I believe we do need to.
Walcott.
Tony, Stan, are you still there, Stan?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. Who wants to go first on youth coming through? Tony, you were shaking your head no. You don't believe that we need some good players to help the young players?
Look at Leipzig. They're all young players.
I believe
they've done it for 3, 4, 5 seasons in a row. It's not.
Yeah, but why? Because they got a system. They got a system.
They'll get a system.
Well, where are we getting a system from? Your third manager, no system.
I'm gonna pull a Tony. I'm gonna raise my hand.
All right.
Go ahead.
So you're Tony's absolutely right with that. Tony, that's fantastic, man. That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. But I will caution you, they do have good players. Okay. Now, do they have any world-class players? Would you have classified Timo Werner as world-class?
No.
Maybe. We don't know yet.
He's world-class potential.
Yeah.
Potential. He's not there.
Fair enough. But you know what Leipzig also has with the young players? A young coach.
Yeah.
So
but what if they won?
What Leipzig have right now, to a degree, is the perfect storm of a young coach and young world-class potential players that are buying into the coach and what the coach is selling. And I'll be honest, to a degree, right now, I'm in that category. I'm in that boat. I want players, and they're probably going to be younger players that are going to be more willing to buy in to what Arteta is trying to do.
You can do both, Tanner.
They got no choice.
Yeah.
Because they want to make their name. And what of Leipzig won? They don't have a choice because they're trying to make a name for themselves. I
mean, right now Leipzig are still in the Champions League, so they're in the quarterfinals.
Leipzig.
Until the pandemic hit, I would have said that Leipzig would have been the odds-on favorite to win it.
Leipzig have done the best that they can do in that league. Bayern Munich's going to win it every year, but
that's fine. And that's fine. So if it's always a race for second place, then because Bayern are going to win, then okay, fair enough. And if that just comes down to money, that just comes down to money.
I would also rather have a couple of our best academy guys in the team, and then 8 Galacticos in the team, so that I can pick Arsenal while playing on FIFA and not have to pick Liverpool or Man City. But I can't do that, and that's because our youngsters aren't that good, and we can't afford to pay the world class players. And all of us are accountants trying to get penny and pounds from here or there. Let's sell Kolasinac for a free. Let's get Munier, which is gone, by the way. Munier has signed for Dortmund, and this is the kind of shit that we have to deal with, instead of actually like enjoying the football and enjoying the win today, and looking forward to the Champions League. We have to become accountants and judge as to whether youth is the right way to go, or world class players are the right way to go, when neither of them are working for us.
Well,
Then I'd argue, it's got so bad since 2008 that the club has made us into accountants, that we have to make the club accountable.
I don't want to be an accountant, but when you put Ozil on 350 a week and Mkhitaryan on 180, Aubameyang earns his money. I'm not going to say Aubameyang, but it all adds up, and we become accountants because we want our club to manage their finances so we can go into the transfer market and get the players we want to get.
Yeah, because we're not getting anything from the club in terms of saying, right, this is the problem, we're going to try and fix it. The whole thing's a shit show. So it's kind of like, in one way, I don't want to be an accountant either, but when I'm hearing like, oh, so and so's on that much money and he's costing you 2 or 3 like mid players that will give you that fight, it kind of becomes okay, so who's to blame here? Like, why aren't we able to go into the squad? Just on the last podcast, one of the panel members, he said Arsenal aren't skint, but in this season, I believe the FFP has been lifted, and what have we done? We've given injured players contracts. We've given players, at the end of their run, a contract, but we haven't said, right, we're gonna we're just gonna throw money at players because this is the season where we can do it.
That's the next section, Hopes. Hold your fire. Jaleel said we can't keep our young prospects. Saka's not signing. Bellerin wants that. Our elder bright youths of past are all gone. We can't afford to lose Saka. So yes, sell Nelson and Ainsley Maitland if we can't agree. Real quick, Stan, have your say on the youth coming through.
Hope's first statement about the youth, I'm inclined to agree with him. But before I go there, Saka, just to touch on, I think it was what Jaleel just said. I wasn't actually. I wasn't.
Sorry.
I was having a cigarette off camera. I didn't want my mum to see. My mum's watching. She doesn't like me smoking. But there you go. With Saka, I think Mikel Arteta was asked about what's happening, and he kind of said that, that something. It sounds like something imminent. He said it's something that's going to be announced imminently. So it's fairly positive, and I think that it sounds like they've managed to get him to put pen to paper, and I really hope so. And about where he plays, I don't want to see him playing at left back as a regular. I like where he plays on the left wing. I do think that he's got something about him that he can actually play in the middle. When he was playing, when I saw him drifting into the middle and occupying that area, I was looking at him and I was just thinking about Clarence Seedorf.
Yeah,
something about the way he's built, the look. There's something about him that reminds me of Clarence Seedorf. I'm not saying that the talent is on that level. That's maybe yet to come.
Am I right in thinking, Stan, he created the Manchester United goal up at Old Trafford, feeding Aubameyang? Drifted in the Brighton game, hit the crossbar, and actually fed Aubameyang through the middle, just offside in the Brighton game as well. So, great Saka.
But I'd be inclined to agree with what Hope said earlier on when he was talking about the youth. If you look at our youth prospects, I think there's a couple of categories that you can put them into. You can put Martinelli and Saka into one category and look at them as prospects and look at what it is that you think they bring to the team. The others, I think after that, you've got another little group and it's Eddie. Then after that, you've got all the others. All that you've got Willock, you've got Ainsley Maitland-Niles, you've got Emil Smith-Rowe. See, I don't know too. I haven't seen too much. When I've seen him in pre-season friendlies, he's looked very bright. the reports that we hear about him on loan. But I agree with Hopes. Let's get him back now. Let's not put him out on loan next season. Let's see if he's ready to play at the Emirates Stadium. But yeah, I don't want to sound down, but I do think that I'm still not sure if players like Ainsley Maitland-Niles is going to make it at Arsenal. Joe Willock is going to make it at Arsenal. Joe Willock has showed shades of it to me. That goal he scored against the Liverpool.
Yep.
You know what he done today. What he done today.
In the right place for a midfielder, Stan. He seems to be in the right place to nick a goal here and there, which our midfield cannot do.
I want to see a little bit more consistency, and I don't want to see him looking like a deer in the headlights, like he looked to me in some of the previous games that I've seen. You know, where everything looked like it was just moving around him.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's nothing. Can I just say as well? There's nothing I want to happen more than to have young players that have come through our ranks that support Arsenal. This is what they love, and to get into the first team. There's nothing more than that I would love to see.
Tanner wants to get in before you, Hope.
Just one quick thing. We were talking about, you know, how do we want to build the team? Do we want to build it around youth? Do we want to go out and grab the world-class players? Well, the fact is we're not going to grab the world-class players. So get that idea out of your head, boys. We're going to have to develop a world-class player if we want one in this club. That being said, the way to build the team is a healthy mix of both. It's a healthy mix of all of it. Probably not going to get the world-class player in the transfer market. So look for a player, maybe two, that are in that next level down, and see if you can go get them. And if you can, there you go. And I think when Tony was shaking his head no, and I was pointing up at Tony, it was, I don't think you need a world-class player in your squad to win the Champions League or win your domestic league. I think you need a team. I think you need a team. You need good players, obviously, but I don't think you need a Ronaldo. I don't think you need a Messi. I don't think you need a Neymar. You need to build a team, 11 guys that every time they step foot on the pitch, they look at the other 10 and they go, I'm going to break my leg for you today if I have to.
They believe in each other. Yeah.
That's what you – and again, you need talent. Don't misunderstand me. You need the talent, but you need hard work. And I think the way to build the team, you need to bring the youth through, but you need to surround them with other talent, with more talented players to drive the youth forward to say, I want you to be him in 2 years.
Like James Milner, if you will.
I would even go to say like Wolves, right? You know, the players in Wolves are slowly becoming stars. Do you know what I mean? Players
Is there a world-class player at Leicester right now?
So I'm just saying, players like Jimenez, Adama, Traore at Wolves, you know, Neves. These players are gradually, as their team is galvanizing, you know, how long are they going to be at Wolves for? Some of these players, they're becoming stars.
They're
getting stronger and stronger, and winning games 1-0. Well, Hopes wanted to get you in.
Yeah, I just want to say we're talking about the youth, okay? Now, the way I see a youth player is, you know, someone who's been developed from the teens. Now, the only players that stick out in my mind over the last probably 20 years and who've really contributed to the side, Nicolas Anelka, Cesc Fabregas, Van Pagen, and the rest of them have just been hit and miss. So more miss, yeah. Cashley Cole, you know, he was another one. Apart from that, I can't think of anyone else. And in terms of not needing a star to win the Champions League, I have to disagree with that, because all the goals, you know, in the last 5 years of Champions League, no teams won it. It's been they've had these quality players to do it. You know, you think Bale's overhead kick, you know, for Real and you know, like those kind of players. So I think there needs to be that blend. I'm all for the youth. I'm all for the youth, and especially, like I say, Saka, Martinelli, beautiful. Get them in. But then we've got Martinelli, and we're not playing him. So it's like you can't win.
Tony,
yeah, where'd you stand, Tony? And are you drinking milk?
Water.
All right, let's. Are we finished with that section? I have a new section up. 5
Tony
minutes.
got a point to me.
Tony, then Rohan.
I had
This is the last point on this section, right? So no pressure.
Yeah,
last
come
point.
on.
I would have loaned out Nelson, and I would have kept Eddie the whole year. I think we should have kept Eddie. I think he should have been making 30-minute cameos instead of now he's playing whole games, but he should be making 30, 40-minute cameos now.
Well, I know you're saying that you'd rather have Lacazette doing more of the work. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
But Lacazette ain't got the fitness.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Okay, Rohan.
No, what I'm saying is that if
Lacazette's got the mobility of Mrs. Doubtfire in the box, man. I mean, come on.
if teams were to win the Champions League, then Atletico would have won it many times, right? They play as a unit, but they don't win it because Ronaldo always comes and scores hat-tricks against them. That's the reality of things. So, you can't have that. But I agree with Hopes as well that you can't persist again and again with these players who just aren't going to be good enough, which is why I said this is going to be judgment time. It's going to be whether you will succeed or not. For the youngsters, the option is that you'll go out on loan and then come back and then maybe try to perform then. For the seniors, they have to, Arteta needs to make that decision. And like I said, all of the things that he's saying, I like, but I have stopped judging him on his post or pre-match interview. I will see whether he puts his money where his mouth is and gets rid of Deadwood, brings in quality players, and from match week 1, we're going to have a quick, a good eye on him as to what he's doing, when he's making the substitutions, what are his starting 11. If he has to make early substitutions, that's because his team is wrong. And all of that will come. So it's just 10 days, 10 games. So that's it. So, yeah. So that's my last point, and that's my time. I'm going to move you guys to my TV and watch you on TV, and I'm going to get out of here.
One point before you leave. Tony's just private messaged me, Ray, nobody cares about your banners.
I saw that.
But this has been a dynamite. I'm loving this podcast so far. Rohan, you're ducking out.
I'm going to check out now. I'm going to watch.
Good to see you, Rohan. Good to see you.
Yeah, guys.
Later, bud.
Thanks, Rohan.
Go easy on your FIFA opponent,
Rohan's cooking tonight. Is that right, Rohan? You're cooking tonight, right?
No, I cooked yesterday. So my friend was on cooking duty, but he's done. And he's like sitting here. This is Rohit from the comments. So, yeah. So he's done cooking. And I still had him sitting here for the past 30 minutes because I was like, I'm going to check out in like 5. So,
I'm out of here in 10. Saturday morning.
How long since you cooked, Rohan?
I cooked yesterday, man.
All right. So it's been 24 hours.
Yeah.
So he survived it.
Don't even get me started on the mangoes, dude. Like,
So he survived it.
So good. I started with 1, and then I ended up having 4. I had I was not doing well today in the morning, really.
How much did you pay? How much did you pay? How much did you pay for them? Sorry.
$25 or something.
Yeah. I know, right?
Hey,
They were worth it.
your DMs the hopes. Tony's got something funny to say, I'm sure.
Guys wanting to know if Stan can look down to that bottom square yet.
Bye, Stan.
See ya.
You keep bringing it up, man. Okay.
Thanks, Rohan.
Keep bringing it up.
See you, Rohan.
See you later, mate.
Okay, we're going to get to finally the banner that I have up for 7 minutes, right, Tony?
Something like
The timing and numbers guy. Tony, you're supposed to keep this thing on time, ticking along. Okay, I'm going to give you my take on contracts, okay? Could have done without Ceballos, but I understand why we're keeping Ceballos. I'm a fan of Pablo Mari. I know you're going to give me crap about it, but I think he's one of our better defenders, and he's played 2.5 full games for Arsenal, but hasn't really put a foot wrong in 2.5 games.
204 minutes between the two of them in 8 years.
You see more of Pablo Mari. David Luiz should have been gone. Get rid. I'm not behind Pablo. Not behind David Luiz. Here's the thing with Cedric Suarez. I believe he's going to remain a backup right back. but not to Hector Bellerin. I think he's going to be back up to Max Aarons. And I think Bellerin, and he's not played well today. I think he doesn't have long to stay at Arsenal. He's going to be shipped out. We're going to get some cash. So counter arguments, give me crap for liking Pablo Mari, all that stuff.
I don't.
Oh.
Go ahead, Hopes. If you don't mind, let me go real quick, and then this is going to be the last thing I got because I got to dip out of here too. David Luiz, spot on. I don't think you're going to get an argument on David Luiz from any of us. I don't think there's any of us here that are going to argue with you there. I like your point on Suarez. After Bellerin's performance today, I think his days are numbered, and if they're not, they probably should be. The Ceballos thing, I was utterly out to lunch on this. I thought we extended him through the end of next season. It's just an extension to the end of this season. That it almost doesn't make sense to not do that. I mean, you're essentially saying, no, we know what, we're done with you. He's a warm body. He can play, and he gets in the team week in and week out, match in and match out. He's handed his shirt, so and he's better than nothing, I guess. Pablo Mari, I haven't seen enough of him, and this is what I said last night. I'd like it as a depth signing. So if that's what it is, if he's going to be a guy that's going to get runouts in cup matches, group stage, if we get into European football, maybe coming up against a relegation, threatened side at home, he gets a shout there. That's fine as long as it's a depth move. If we signed him to be Saliba's partner, not sure that's the answer. So for me, with Pablo Mari, the jury is still out. So on that note, gentlemen, I am going to dip out. I'm going to throw you guys on my phone, and I gotta get back out. So I'll catch you guys later. I'm sure we'll talk soon. So
good to see you. Good to see you.
All right, see you guys.
All right, who wants in next on the contracts?
Yeah, I don't mind coming in. So there's a couple of ways I see this. Have Arsenal board tried to buy time by giving these guys contracts, and just because they're 4 years or 1 year or 2 year, what have you, it doesn't mean they're going to stay there. It just gives them leverage. So when they're going to buy their replacements, it's not a case of the opposition, like who we're buying from, do not then turn around and say, well, you've actually got no one, so we're going to add on another 10 or 20 million to the overall price. It's a risky game. So that's one take. The other take is, like you said, that's why I laughed, like Mari's only played like 2.5 games, and, he's where Cedric Suarez hasn't played at all, couldn't get onto the into the Southampton starting 11, and look, and he can't even get into our squad. Well, he's injured. I accept that, but it just again, so that's the second point. The third, and I guess the final point is, it's just no, actually, this is the penultimate point. Josh Kroenke said, "Be excited." Is this what I'm supposed to be excited about? Because if it is, I'm definitely not excited. I'm more angry than excited. And number 4 then would just be where is the passion? Where is the okay? These are the names, and this is the mixture between youth and experience, and this is our starting 11. So overall, I think it's terrible. You also mentioned Ceballos. Is he signed, or you said something about Ceballos?
End of the season.
He's signing for sure.
No, he's just here to the end of the season, so he's been extended to cater to us until the season finishes.
10 games, whatever.
So they're my 4 points on that. Yeah, thank you.
Tony.
Well, when I see these decisions, and I always think to myself, well, what is the thinking behind the decision? So Dennis Ceballos, that's an easy one, right? He's another body. We've got him to the end of the season. He goes back to Madrid. I'm very happy with that. It seems with Dennis Ceballos that the wind has changed from the fans of how they perceive him, because up until maybe up to about maybe four months ago or so, you know, I was seeing a lot of people that were saying that we should be doing everything that we can to make that deal permanent. The fact of the matter is that it doesn't work like that. He was always going to go back to Madrid in my view. We were always a stepping stone to put him in a shop window to either go back to Madrid or somewhere else. But I done a poll on that, and I asked, you know, once Dani Ceballos' loan finishes, we should, and the choices were move heaven and earth to make the deal permanent, or let him go back to Madrid. And it's the wind has changed. Only 8% wanted Dani Ceballos, wanted us to try and do anything that we could to keep him, and that's a big change. So it can show you how quickly opinions can change. Going back to what I was saying about when decisions are made, I always try to look at what the thinking is behind the decision. Yeah. Suarez, for me, is one that I just do not understand. And I'll break it down as best as I can. A lot of people say, well, we got him on a free transfer. We didn't get him on a free transfer. We paid Southampton about £1 million for him to come to us on a loan. Now, usually when you bring a player in on loan, for me, it's usually because we're maybe short in that area. We're looking for someone to help us, to give us cover. So why did we pay £1 million to bring in a player to help us and cover who's injured and can't kick a ball? And for all of the time that he has been off, we've been paying £65,000 of his wages. So it hasn't been a free transfer at all. It's been nearer around about £4 million. My maths might be off. So it's quite a chunk. Then I look at, okay, now we've decided to give this guy a 4-year contract. And again, I'm looking at, well, what has this been based on? It's not based on what he's done on the pitch, because he's not kicked a ball. He came back into training and then he got, something happened in his face and he had one of them Phantom of the Opera masks on. I saw pictures.
Like the one Tony's wearing now.
So I don't know why that decision has been made. Do you see what I mean? Why they've decided that we want to make the deal permanent. Also with Suarez as well, this is a player that when Southampton was fighting relegation and battling to stay in the league, the manager didn't use him. He didn't look at Suarez and say, I need your help. This isn't a case that we've gone to Southampton, who, you know, a struggling team, and we've plucked their best player away from them. This is a player that the manager wasn't even using in a relegation battle. So I don't get it. I'm not saying that he ain't going to come good, but I just don't get the thinking behind why we've made him permanent. Mari, I've not seen enough of him. You know, it's nice that we've got a left-sided centre-back. We needed that. I've not seen enough of him. But I always said the day that Pablo Mari walked into the club, I said, I guarantee you this move will be made permanent. And I've not even seen him play. And the club are going to use it as a very convenient method to not bring in another, what I would consider a top-tier central defender like Konate or Upamecano, players of that caliber. So I'm halfway there on that prediction. They've made the move permanent. Let's see what they do in the summer. Finally, David Luiz. I don't get the thinking behind that at all. My biggest fear, as I said earlier on the pod, is that if we do move on Aubameyang, he's our captain, and we move on our vice captain, like it seems that a lot of people would like Hector Bellerin to no longer be with us. I'm really worried that David Luiz is going to be our captain, and I don't want David Luiz to be the mentor to players like Saliba, Rob Holding, Chambers, anybody else that we might want to bring in. So that's just my thoughts on the contracts.
Yeah, Stan, we've said that a number of times on the podcast. We do not want David Luiz to be a mentor to any young defender coming in, be it academy or be it Saliba. 4 years, I think we've been getting caught out on contract situations. So we're now deciding to give players 4 years so that after 2 years, we have that flexibility of selling for some kind of a profit here or there. And David Luiz, just to reward him with a contract and pay all of that money again is not a step going forward. Stan?
It's just the thinking behind it for me. When I looked at the David Luiz, I thought to myself, is there another thing that we could have done? Was there another play that we could have done which would have suited us better? And the play that I came up with, I would have done this. I would have given David Luiz to the end of this season, and that's it. No year extension. But I would have also eased in Zach Medley and Daniel Ballard from the under-23s for the games remaining this season in the league. Because
I think that could happen as well, Stan. I think he kept faith with Mustafi and Holding today to give them a chance to redeem themselves for the Brighton game. And one other point I wanted to shoot at you is perhaps we're making these deals permanent so that we can save money for our transfers in other areas of the pitch.
That could be one, but if we'd only made David Luiz's contract to say the end of the season and promoted, say, Zach Medley and Daniel Ballard, we could have them as backup. They could be training with the first team on the bench, because we remember we can take more people on the bench, and not saddle ourselves with David Luiz, because there's two sides to David Luiz. You've got the side where we see him in the huddle, players listening to him, and we hear the word leadership, which we touched on earlier. The word leadership has been given to David Luiz and what he's like off of the pitch.
Yeah.
We can't afford to be paying him, I say 120 grand, to just be a nice guy off the pitch. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. And by the way, on the question of substitutes today, Tony, did we make 5 subs today? 4. Okay, so maybe Arteta's not getting so caught up on 5 subs, which was at Brighton. Tony, I wanted to give you your opportunity for your say on David Luiz, Mari, Suarez, and Ceballos.
And Xhaka.
No Xhaka.
On the list.
On Luiz, it's still not confirmed or not for sure that he got the contract done by 7 p.m. It could just be extended until the end of the season for now.
Please don't tease us, Tony. You're playing with us now.
And on Mari, like the rest of you haven't seen enough of him. I wouldn't sign him for 4 years. I gave him 2 max since we haven't seen him that much.
Yeah, but maybe he's going to stay for 2, and we have some resale value. We have some negotiating wiggle room with 2 years left in this contract, like Raul's been saying. When we come to 2 years, we're going to start talking to these players, which hasn't been happening lately.
And I definitely want to sign the Portuguese Carl Jenkinson. I want to sign him at all.
Suarez, yeah.
Can I just say, let's say we signed Pablo Mari to 2 years, and he's gangbusters. He's like reborn Maldini.
Yeah.
He's got to say for Barolini when it comes to contract talks. We lose him to a bigger team that sees it and says, "Yeah, we'll have that," and he goes there. Or we've got to start weighing out more money.
It's time to start learning from our mistakes, Dad. Listen, again, it's been a great podcast. I could go on and on, but hopes. It's like big up yourself. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning there, almost. Final thoughts. Let's go around. Final thoughts. I'm going to start, and I'm going to be gracious and say congratulations to Liverpool. We're going to have a couple of Scousers, Liverpool supporters on when we do face as guests when we do face Liverpool. We want to test ourselves against the best. We're 4 years away, maybe from at best case scenario of being there. That's where we want to be. And congratulations to Liverpool. Really enjoyed the podcast. I want to say thanks to Tanner and Rohan, who's not here. Ryan, who couldn't get in. He wanted to get in. Ryan, I really was toying with the idea of having Stan take the reins again and me ducking out.
Yeah, I hope you're enjoying your time in warm-up, Ryan.
Yeah, big up to Stan the other evening for taking control of the podcast as well, co-hosting under difficult circumstances. But really enjoyed this podcast, and I'm looking forward to Sunday. And it's going to be a difficult contest with Sheffield.
Saturday or Sunday we're playing?
Sunday.
Okay. I thought
Sunday.
Saturday.
Looking forward to that. It's going to be a difficult game. They're going to fight tooth and nail to win something, get something out of the season. I really, really hope our players can match that desire. It's something we talked about. Hopes. Final thoughts.
Yeah. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, you made the right decision. Well done. Congratulations. 2 years, 3 major trophies under your belt, even though I don't know how much you contributed, but, they're going to be going into your cabinet. So well done for that. Well done, Liverpool. You know you've absolutely smashed it. And if you win all your remaining games, I think you end up on 110 points, which is
Quite a
phenomenal
few
in
records
itself.
to keep winning. Yeah.
And yeah, overall, I'm happy that Arsenal got the 3 points. I hope this, helps the players' confidence, and there's a switch in their mentality, and they now want to maintain that, and they don't want to take a step back. Equally, I am realistic, and I know what fixtures are coming up against us. FA Cup, even if we beat Sheffield United with the remaining teams in there, I don't think.
Stay optimistic. Come on, stay optimistic.
It's my opinion, right? So I'm not sure we can do all that. And with Mikel, I'm praying he's the answer to Arsenal, but at the moment, I'm not exactly over the moon about some of these decisions and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on. Thanks for the banter and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it was fun, Hopes. Always a surprise when you pop in. Tony?
I'm going back to a comment Glenn Knightley said early on that it's been 16 years since we've won, and wondering if it's going to be 30 years before we get to hold a trophy again.
Yep. I'm going to ask.
You might be dead by then, Tony.
I'm going to ask them how it felt to wait 30 years, because we could be in that position. Anything else, Tony?
Wondering what happened to that lump of coal in Rohan and Stan's heart after Liverpool won today.
Yeah, and Rohan and Tanner
turned into a diamond. What happened to that lump of coal?
Rohan and Tanner didn't have it in them to congratulate Liverpool and Liverpool supporters, but I'm sure Stan will.
Yeah, I do, and I would like to say congratulations to Liverpool. To be fair, I've got quite a few friends that support Liverpool, so I'm very pleased for them. But on the Arsenal front, my final word is that I'm really pleased that we go into this FA Cup game on the bounce of some improvements. I really enjoyed what I saw from Rob Holding today, very, very much so. Kieran Tierney again, and we didn't mention that ball that he put through to Aubameyang, was the vision on that to see him and pick that out.
Yep.
Martinez as well almost got an assist today with his distribution when he also picked out Aubameyang. So there's some positives. So I'm looking forward to the game on Sunday, and let's hope that we progress further into the FA Cup.
Yeah, and I wanted to encapsulate some of the things on Saturday we were all feeling. We went on the podcast straight after the game, and sometimes it's better to have that distance to let things percolate in your mind to think about it. So probably not so much focus on Southampton today, but the 3 games and all of those segments. Pretty much a snapshot of where we are and how we're feeling about Arsenal right now with 7 or 8 games to go in the league, And yeah, good shout, Stan. Tierney, Holding. These are players we didn't talk about, but I'm really happy for Rob Holding that he started to show something to Arteta, because I don't know about you, I was getting a little worried that he was going to be on the scrap bin pretty soon. We got a lot of defenders, and because of David Luiz being picked up, we're going to lose something. And Tony's given us something to just end the show on here,
Can I just say there as well, it could be so easy for someone like Rob Holding to be overlooked because of congestion. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. And Mesut Ozil, it's a perfect scenario. He's already on the beach. Lacazette, it's just too funny. Sunbathing there. But wanted to thank the 3 remaining panel guests here. Hopes, thanks for staying with us. It is silly o'clock right there right now. Thanks. Appreciate it. Stan's a little bit earlier in the evening.
Always a pleasure, Ray.
Thanks for joining me, Stan. And Tony, the numbers guy. We didn't get to employ you too much today, but thanks for coming in, Tony.
No numbers.
Hey, we roll on to Sunday. Quick prediction. Let's just drag it out a couple more minutes. Quick predictions for Sunday, Hopes.
2-1 Arsenal.
2-1 we get there. I think we can do it. I might go into extra time. I would go for a 2-1 as well. Tony?
2-1 sounds good, but I'm still going to rely on the die since I'm done predicting.
I didn't catch that last sentence apart from done predicting.
Rolling the dice.
Roll the
Roll
die.
the dice.
Two.
Okay. Stan?
2-2.
All right, Stan, your prediction?
I'm hoping that we're going to get 3 goals, that there's some confidence around the team, that they've been given a little bit of a boost. So I'm going to go with 3-1. I think.
3-1 it is. Okay. All right. That's it. We're going to wind it up. Thanks for watching, everyone. Really, really enjoyed this podcast. Great panel as usual. Surprise drop-ins, always welcome. And want to say, if any of you watching out there in YouTube land, watching this podcast, get in touch with me at Arsenal Circle on Twitter. DM me if you want to come on the show. You can be a guest too. And we're always welcome. It's always great to have new faces mixed in with the regulars here. Until Sunday, we're going to have a podcast definitely after the match. Come on, you Gooners, up the Arsenal. We got 3 points today. Although it was Southampton, still a welcome 3 points. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Red Army.